say? Tommy Paradise here with a bonus episode of the Running Podcast. We're dropping an interview with Dylan from WrestlingFigureDatabase.com. Pretty cool website to keep track of all of the wrestling figures that have ever been created. Very, very deep dive, very wormhole worthy if you get on there. Check out the interview here. This is just me coming on and telling you what's coming up, and to hit up our sponsor, shop.figurecollections.com. Grab anything in their store. Use the code RUN10 for 10% off anything you're going to buy in the store. Make sure to check out their eBay store and their website as well, figurecollections.com. And of course, homage. You guys can pay homage by heading over to runinpod.com and click on the deals and use our homage affiliate link. Some Father's Day shirts and all that good stuff up there as well. Some new WWE, new MLB. Get all that goods. And of course, wrestlingcollectorshop.com. Use the code RUN10 for anything you're going to buy. If you spend over $50, you guys can use the code RUNINPOD for free shipping. Enjoy the interview, guys. It's a good one. Hey, what do you say? Tommy Paradise here with another conversation here on the Run In Podcast. Of course, got DJ. What's up, man?
What up? It's showtime. Let's do this.
That's right. We are very fortunate to have. We've been trying to make this work for the last few weeks, and life just kept getting in the way. But we've got from WrestlingFigureDatabase.com, Mr. Dylan Sherrick. I say that right? Your last name right?
You got it. You are probably like the first person that's ever gotten it. It's weird.
Fantastic.
When you read weird trivia team names, you start to to get them right.
People go Shrek, or for some reason they combine and call me Derek Sherrick. All kinds of stuff.
We are big fans of your website. I use it very frequently, but the website is WrestlingFigureDatabase.com. My first question for you, man, is how did you decide that we needed this?
I think I've told the story possibly before. I don't really know. But during the pandemic, like right at the start, I started to get pretty deep into G.I. Joe, vintage G.I. Joe collecting. And they have a really great site called yojo.com. Mm-hmm. And it really... So there's some unfortunate circumstances where I think somebody bought it and then they wouldn't let the owners in, so it wasn't retained. But yojo.com was like super detailed in terms of like, here's the figure that came out in 1986. Here's like all the all iterations of that character throughout the years. Here's all the variations of that figure potentially in the market. And kind of like as the pandemic went on, I was collecting more and more. I was like, damn, like wrestling, which has always been my number one collection. Like it's the thing that I've been collecting since I was in like second grade. I was like, wrestling could really use something like this. There's a bunch of great resources out there, but I don't want to say they're too widespread, but like they try to encompass like all action figure lines. Mm-hmm. And wrestling is a small segment of that. And as a result, you lose kind of some of the expertise and you lose some of the variants, like because there's just so much to focus on. And so I was like, I want to start something. And so I think I just started spinning it up for, at the time, it was like the AEW line. And then kind of branched into Mattel. And then it was like, well, why not just do it all? And Jax gave me like heart attack, like at the time, but like now we're up to 16,000 figures on there. So it's really like, wow, it's just grown exponentially since when I first started it.
How long did it take you to get everything put in when you said, all right, I have, not necessarily, obviously you've added stuff since, but like from, okay, I'm going to do this idea to, okay, I'm comfortable to put this out there. How long did like that take you?
Dude, so it was something where I probably shouldn't have even made it public. Like it was, I was naive, but I remember like I had a small section. Like, I don't even know if it was just like AEW and Mattel. And I tagged like, I think the Major Pod or something like that in a Twitter post, and it was just like, hey, I'm working on this. And then they, I think, responded to that tweet, and obviously people were like, oh, this is great, and kind of like that, I think, fueled me to probably move like way faster than I normally could. But I just saw like the appetite that people had for something like this, and it kind of just snowballed and kept me going.
Sure. Do you do like web design for like your shoot job, or is this something that you just were like
No. This is actually the second iteration of the site.
Okay.
Because again, just short-sighted, but I was using a different web host, and everything was very manual. Like upload a picture, manually type in like all the data, make sure that it matches, and like it was very finicky. And just kind of realized like it was just not sustainable. And so I think probably in like 2021, I switched over to Shopify, which it like really allows you, it exploded like that model that I had, where like now it's just like I click a figure, duplicate it if it's in the same line or the same series, and it's like all I got to do is change a name and switch out the pictures, and it's live, it's out there.
Yeah,
it takes like 2 seconds.
Nice.
And so that has really sped things up, and like now the site is, I think, much more mature and kind of professional looking than it was at the beginning. I could probably find it, like log in or something like that, but like it was just not good.
You have so much on here. It's incredible. Like, obviously AEW doesn't have a ton yet, but like WCW, you have Galoob, Just Toys, Original San Francisco Toy Makers, Toy Biz, and then a whole other section. WWE and WWF, like, it's just mind blowing how much there actually is. North America, New Japan, AAA, unreleased stuff, bootleg. I love it. I love that you can search by wrestler. You can just do a search. Is there a favorite line of yours that's on the site? Like, what is your wheelhouse? Maybe not necessarily to collect, because we'll get into that in a little bit, but like just to work on. Like you're like, all right, there's a new line of Elites, for example. Like, oh, fantastic! I'm pumped to be putting this in.
It's not those ones.
Right.
So like parts of those lines, like I really do enjoy, because it's like the OCD part of me loves how like Mattel gives these studio shots, and it's like the whole gallery just looks very pretty. But like I don't, and that's honestly, like, if you say like that's where the interest is, like that's where the majority of traffic goes, is Mattel, AEW.
Sure.
But like what I really love is exposing like these random lines that like people don't know a lot about, or there's just not a lot recorded about them. So like I think when I look at the site and kind of say like, what's my real contribution to things, it's like the bootleg, knockoff, and unlicensed section. Like I don't think anybody has like a database that large of like bootleg and knockoff wrestling figures. Like it's super niche. Like there's probably like one dude who cares about it. But like I want to be the one where if you're searching for it, like you land here, and then you obviously hopefully start to reference the site more and more.
Sure.
So I think that's one where I kind of like, I'm proud, but that being said, there's like, I think I've really just like touched the tip of the iceberg on that. Like there's so much crap. Can we swear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So much shit out there that like, even right before this call, like I found 5 Wrestle Federation boxing product bootleg figures, and they're from like a European distributor. So obviously they're in Europe, but like, they're just so random. And it's like, I love like for that person that's like, I wonder if there's more Wrestle Federation boxing products. Like they can go in here and find it. And then the other section that I'm proud of, but like I still think needs so much more work, and it's just really hard, is the South American stuff. So, like, for some reason, the AAA, CMLL, like the main lines that all of us think about, like your Kellyan, your original San Francisco toy makers, like those are well cataloged. But like these HAG I don't even exactly know how to say it, but it's HAG distributors. Like there's so little known about that line. And like I'll contact Roy Lucier, who's like a really big lucha collector. And like he'll randomly uncover something. I've got lots of lucha contacts that I've met through eBay or Instagram, and it's like, we'll randomly uncover something. Like there's just so little known about them. And they're from like these core federations.
Yeah,
The Mexican product seems really, really hard to kind of track everything down.
Sure. I don't know a whole lot about like even AAA to an extent. I don't really know a whole lot about like, but every time I hear something about it or read something about, I'm like fascinated by even just looking at the figs. Like every once in a while, I'm like, man, I kind of want to grab that like AAA Rey Mysterio just because he's Rey Mysterio and that's like his first figure, and it just seems like such an iconic figure. But DJ, what do you got for Dylan?
Yeah, so you mentioned we were gonna go into his collection here. So I guess my first question about your collection is what are your parameters with your collection?
So I really only collect Mattel, Elites, Ultimates, AEW, Hasbro's, and then behind me is kind of like miscellaneous stuff, but I've got a Japanese section, Galoob's, OSFTM, and then some ECW. But generally, my parameters are like for Japan, it's like the known guys.
Okay.
For WWE, it's anybody that was active up to the year 2000.
Okay. It's almost like Tommy's.
And like even last week or this week, like I put like that WrestleMania 37 China up for sale because it's like that's 2001. And it's like it's just a slippery slope if I go any further. But that's 2000s, like really when I stopped watching religiously, and so I just kind of drop it there.
I went right to 2003, and then I sold everything. And then I'm like slowly buying stuff back that I kind of regretted selling. And I'm like, but just certain guys. I'm not like, I was always like, I need I'm strictly flashbacks or, legends or whatever. And I'm much more strict now than I was way before. Like when we started the pod, I was just buying everything. And now I'm just like, I gotta slow down here a little bit. I'm running out of space.
You can't.
So much out there. I mean, your website says it all. Like, it's just so much out there.
I've got a local friend, and he collects like seemingly everything. And I'm like, where are you putting it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you afford it? Like, I don't collect. I have really slowed down recently, but like, it's just, I look at some of the stuff that I've even got like toted up, and it's like, I don't even, if I want to clear space, like I get almost overwhelmed just like looking at the tote, and it's like, oh God, how much work is it going to be to list this, package it, sell it? And like, it's exhausting.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. That's why I felt like I kind of needed to do a reset. And me and the family were going to Disney too, so it seemed like a good time to sell everything and put that money towards that. It was like right around this time last year, actually. I started selling everything off. So
wow.
Yeah.
Did you do it piecemeal or did you do
I did it. I did a lot of it through our Facebook group. I just did like, Tommy's claim sale, and you post a picture and the price, but I didn't do everything all at once either. I would do like 1 week I'd do like 20 figs, and then the next week I'd do another 20, and then stuff that wasn't selling through the Facebook groups I'd throw up on eBay or Mercari, and I mean, it was a lot of work, and now like everything's getting re-released, so it's like, all right, I didn't really make a huge mistake here, so I just rebought Harley Race for $20 and sold them for $300. So it's like I kind of did it. I got lucky. I did it at the right time. So
but if I could pick a time to sell, it would have been during the pandemic or like around.
Oh yeah, but sure. Especially the Hasbros, man. The Hasbros are just. I ended up selling my whole Hasbro collection because I was just like, there's no way I'm ever going to finish this with the way prices are. It's just.
Did you get all the way?
No, I didn't. I was, I just needed the expensive ones. And at that point I was just like, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to complete this. So
I'm 100% with you. I have up to series 10.
Yep.
I think I'm missing Black Pants Sean and all series 11 in the mail-ins. And I'm like,
oh man, he should have talked to me before we started the pod. Black Pants Sean.
It's just like, I'm like, it's never going to happen.
Yep. And that's what it was for me. It was just like, all right, I was going to WrestleMania already. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sell this off as a lot. That I sold off as a lot. I didn't do like piecemeal or anything, but I sold it as a lot, and I put the money towards going to WrestleMania. So no regrets. Nice. I held the only ones I held on to were Legion of Doom because they're my favorite tag team of all time. So
there you go.
Probably should have held on to. Oh, and I have a Ric Flair because he's my favorite of all time.
Nice.
So, back to you. Do you have something in your collection, or maybe not that you've attained yet, that is like a white whale to you? You're a grail, something that you're just dying to get your hands on, or something that you'll like never sell?
I have like most of what I want. I think like for some strange reason, the one that like I really do wish I had was the Hogan mail away. There's something about like the red gear that like I really like for some reason and wish I had. Like it's not an iconic outfit, I don't think, for him, but like for some reason it just looks cool. That's, I think, the one that I would pick in terms of like Mattel. Like I'm not worried, like it'll come down the line or something like that.
Right.
Like
right.
And even like some of the ones that I thought were grails, like I'm selling now, like they just don't fit. Like I have like a Kerry Von Erich, which it was cool to have, but now I'm like, I don't have like a Texas shelf. So it's like, I'm just kind of, it's like, let's cut it down and wean off a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's your favorite line of all time?
Ooh.
Oh gosh, this is like I think the line that I think Mattel Elites are my favorite line of all time. I think kind of just like the depth, breadth, the quality, like, and what you can do with them is kind of, it puts it on a level of its own.
Right.
And so like, I truly do believe that's probably the best wrestling line that we've had to date. But like a classic line, like there's a few that I have where it's like, it's weird because I don't collect them at all, but like WWF LJNs, I honestly think that that's one of the best lines. It's probably one of my favorite lines. But like Tommy, it gets back to what you were saying, where it's like, I can't afford them. Like,
right.
And how picky I am with like paint and stuff like that.
Oh man.
I don't want like a JYD with like a half bitten off leg or like, and I know that's probably one of the cheaper figures, but it's like, once you get past like those real common guys, it's like $80 a pop. And it's like, I don't have the energy.
Yeah.
But then
I'm with you.
I think my third favorite is any of the Japanese lines. I don't know if you guys are really familiar with them, but Character Product, Mogura House, the NJPW, AJPW, and Noah lines that they produce, like they remind me of Mattel just because of like how deep they go. Like there's your heavy hitters, there's your not jobbers because they don't really have that sense, but like your lower card guys, like your light heavyweight type guys. It's just another really great line that's slowly become my favorite.
Nice.
I've never got into the Japanese figures or anything like that, but I'm just like, I'm not ignoring anything you guys are saying. I'm literally like falling into wormholes on your site right
You're
now.
scrolling through
I have it on another monitor, and I'm just like, whoa.
Dude,
well, somebody asked me my favorite.
DJ, I see one thing that I actually regret not grabbing.
What's that?
Which is that WCW ring.
Oh yeah, no, because like just what it's doing right now is why I got it. It's like because it's like you got perfect. It automatically gives you a WCW shelf.
Yep,
and then you put everything for WCW in there. So
and like the weird thing is like I have that Dusty, and it's like I don't know if I owned the ring at one point and I sold it, but like I remember seeing that at Target for like $12.50.
Right. Yeah. That's how much I paid for that.
And I was just like, that was like right when I was getting in. Like I think that was around like the first Mattel pack that I bought was the 4 Horsemen 4-pack. And I think that was like right around the time all that stuff was on sale, and I was
it was on the clearance.
I didn't know what I was doing, and I regret it.
I bought that 4 Horsemen set. I paid the $50, the real price, and then a couple weeks later or months later, I got it for $12.50.
Right.
Same thing with that ring. I bought the ring actually. I think I might have paid the $50 or whatever it was for it. I kind of regret selling that, especially since the Nitro stage didn't get funded. Speaking of, I know it's still kind of not new, but still relevant to all of us here. We gave
probably a raw subject for some folks.
Yeah, we gave our eulogy to it last week. But any thoughts on the Nitro stage? Were you going to back it? Too much money for you? What was your thoughts on it?
In the Monday Night Wars, I was 100% WCW. Even today, I went to the gym. What I watched was like a Clash of Champions from 1996. So I backed it day one, like as soon as it opened up. And I wanted it, but at the same time, I'm all right with getting $400 back.
Same. That's kind of how I felt once it got shut down.
And like, I have the new gen thing, and it's like, I don't know where this goes. And I mean, like realistically, like Steve, Bill, and team, like I know they put that thing together for fans like us, but like, right. I think ultimately the execution left some things to be desired. And I think there were a lot of misses in terms of why it didn't hit, why momentum stalled at multiple points. And I can't say I'm super surprised. Although that reminds me, I do owe somebody $1 on Twitter because they said there's no way this thing hits or funds. And I was like, no, it's going to happen. And didn't happen.
Bet $1.
Yep. Bet $1.
I was a little shocked that it didn't get funded, but like you said, man, I don't understand why it didn't. There were some misses along the way, I think, that we talked about on our show, but I would have loved to seen it get back. It was one of those things where I was like, man, this $400 kind of like stings right now, but when I get it, I'm going to be very thrilled with it. And me and DJ got to see it in person at Mania, and it was just like the pictures didn't do it justice. It's a shame, but we'll see.
It never does do it justice, but like, I mean, it's the optics of the whole campaign itself. And I think the like Hulk Hogan as the first one was a miss. And then like, how do you guys feel about the early backer for everybody?
I didn't like that, to be honest with you. I think if you're back, like, it's not a bonus. It's not an early backer bonus if everybody gets it, in my opinion.
And how many people did we hear that were like, I'll wait to see it fund?
Right.
Where it's like the early backer bonus, I think, is the thing where it's like you're going to back early. You're going to see momentum early if you have a really strong early backer bonus. And like that wasn't Hogan.
Right.
No.
Right.
Like, even if it had the Pastamania shirt, like that to me is not going to move. Like, I don't know.
I agree.
No, like you probably heard us. You know, I thought early backer should have been like, say, the Steiner brothers, like this flat out Steiner brothers.
Yep.
And boom, you got to be early to get the Steiner brothers, and then after that, it's Hogan, Rey Mysterio, and whoever. But
I think you would have seen a lot more traction with something like that. But you know, Monday morning quarterbacking.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
We don't know any of this shit that they had to like. It's business. There's things that they had to consider that we're not thinking of.
Right.
No, sure. I mean, they probably thought Hogan's name was going to be big enough for early backer, you know?
Yep. But yeah, I was bummed.
We, DJ, you got any other questions here? I got a couple more, but I want to give you another crack.
So did you have, is there a character that you like to collect a lot? Like, you know, that you just have every figure of?
No. Okay. Nope. I would say I do typically go for Hogan, but Hogan, Macho, Warrior, like I have way too many of each of them. Mm-hmm. But I don't go outside my rules for them. So like,
there you go. Okay.
The Hogan that just came out in like the tie-dye or like it's like tie-dyed pants, I guess, which is like your later era. I don't even know which one it was, but
the
like
WCW one.
No, I got the WCW one.
Like the Legends. That. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Like 2005.
Yes.
Era.
Yep. I forget what Elite line that was, but
it's like 95 or something like that.
Yep. Skip. Obviously didn't go for that. And then like I find myself even being a little bit more selective right now with those too. Like I didn't pick up that Hogan with like the Desert Storm gear or whatever that was. I have no recollection of that storyline with Zeus, and so it just doesn't mean anything. I think it was with Zeus.
It was the
Slaughter.
Yeah, the match made
Slaughter makes more sense.
Yeah.
Holy shit, this guy's running a wrestling figure database. But yeah, I mean, I skipped that. That's within my rules. Was it's like I don't have a connection to it. I don't know. I know it's just going to get toted. Like,
no, that's smart because that's me. Because everything in my collection, there's some kind of emotional connection. Like, there's, I don't collect anything that's just it's just there.
Yeah, and that's what I got to move on, getting more of that stuff out, I guess. But everything I have now, which is still way too much, some kind of connection to.
Exactly.
Like I don't need 20 Bretts.
That's what I had to get away from is like, all right, I have Flair's my favorite of all time, so I'll probably buy anything they put out by him. Like you said, there's just too many Warriors, too many Machos, so like I want to have too many Shawn Michaels, to be honest with you.
Yep.
That might be an unpopular opinion, but
nope.
But so I want to stick to like I have the original Legends Macho in the purple shirt, one Macho King, one like 90s Macho right now, and then I want to get like one like maybe WCW one, just and then Warriors the same thing. I have the Dingo Warrior Legends. The Survivor Series one is beautiful, so I grabbed that, the most recent Survivor Series one.
I love that one too.
His red, white, and blue one, and then the WrestleMania 6 and the latest Ultimate, and it's like I don't really need more than that. So,
yep.
It is. It's I said like I feel like going back kind of to the Nitro stage. I feel like Mattel, this kind of exposed Mattel and WWE a little bit to like, okay, we need to get some more people under contract because there's only so much we can do here with what we have right now. So we need to figure something else out. So,
yep.
But
yeah.
I
generally follow the same pattern where it's like I'll keep one iteration of that character or like time frame. It's like I don't need Dingo Warrior, for example. Like kind of like my Texas shelf, it's like there's no Dingo Warrior match that I'm very familiar with.
WCCW.
No.
I don't either. My point was just like, or my thought process.
What's your favorite
like
Dingo
evolution.
Warrior match?
The first one.
Perry Carter. See, I'm old, so it was in UWF, and he had a few matches. That
I wish I knew more about UWF. That seems like a cocaine fueled fun ride.
Man. Oh man. And then when you started to see him show up, and all of those wrestlers start to show up in either WCW or WWF, like that, my eyes started bugging out of my head. Like, what? Do you let that guy in your, So
yeah, yep.
I got one like real question about the website, and then one fun question before we start to wrap up. But DJ, do you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. Have you ever thought about putting, so you have like unaffiliated, unreleased figures and prototypes, bootlegs. Have you ever thought about putting fig swaps on there? So as a collector, I hate fig swaps, but when I see them like pictures of them, I crack up because some of them are just hysterical. Have you ever thought about putting that on the website, or is it such like a thing where it's like people hate that shit in the groups and in the community? Or it's like maybe it's a bad look if we put those up.
I haven't thought about it. I think there's an aspect to the site that I'd like to build out a little bit more, which is like the community aspects.
Mm-hmm.
It's like maybe there's like a user generated section of the site that is fig swaps or like customs and stuff like that. But I think I know that like there's a whole section dedicated to bootlegs and knockoffs, but like try to keep it to like the main releases. Mm-hmm. And I think like fig swaps can also like create confusion if they were part of this. And
that's true.
Because it's like I see that, like I remember this story. Like I was at my dad's house. He lives in Hudson, Mass.
Nice.
Which this kid was having dinner. It's my stepbrother's friend. He was like, "Oh, check out this like figure I found," and like, you see this like, it was like some clearly like to me who's pretty familiar with this stuff. Like, it's a fig swap, and I was like, dude, that's worth nothing. And it's actually like somebody's just screwed you over and you paid $20 retail for like crap, essentially. And he was like very dedicated to the idea that it was this rare item because it was different from what was like posted or like he could find online.
Sid from Toy Story just screwed you, bro.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. It could be a fun thing, but like I've got my hands full with just like official and unofficial releases. Like I was on a different podcast, the Fully Posable one, and I think I told him that I thought I had like 97% of figures. And like that's another example of me just being like incredibly naive. Like that was probably 2 years ago.
Yep.
And it's like there's not a day that I can't go on eBay or Twitter and find something that I didn't know about. Like it's incredible the amount of figures or like ways that you can take this thing. And so I don't know. That's probably a long ways off if I do a fig swap thing.
Gotcha. I thought I was done asking real questions, but how much time do you spend on this site or devoted to this site on a weekly basis, would you say?
At this point, it's not a ton. So I had a job that I really hated during when I was running this up.
Yep.
And so I basically was like, I'm whatever they call it, like the quiet or like the slow quitting thing, whatever. I don't quiet quitting.
Yep.
And so I basically used that time to build the foundation of this, which I think is like, if I were still being naive, is like the 90% of stuff. these days, like it's more few and far between what I can find. And so it doesn't require like these heavy lifts. I would say like 4 hours a week or so.
It's not bad.
No, probably a little longer than that. But like, I love doing it for some reason. And so, yeah.
All right.
And it's like if I have like a lunch break, it's like, oh, I'll go on eBay and type in these random things that I've found have surfaced stuff in the past. And it's like, I'll throw a figure on there if I find it.
All right.
Like, I don't think anything that I find now, I don't think is going to be like the thing where people are like, oh shit, like how did he not have that?
Sure. Yeah, right. I'm telling you, man, it is a wormhole. I'm like going through, just because we were talking about Hulk Hogan. I've just typed in his name and just pulled up all kinds of stuff. And like you would think at some point in your life you've seen every Hulk Hogan figure that's out there just because he's so mainstream. And there is a 2005. I need to find this figure on eBay. 2015 Sofubi Fighting Hulk series Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Damn, you see, like those are that's the thing that I love is like, so I don't know if you've seen this set, but there is a buy wrestler section. If you go Legends and Alumni, Golden Era, you don't have to even search. It'll just pull all the Hogan figures.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But like, I love, like, there's so many obviously Hogan bootlegs and like, I love like that Japanese stuff that maybe folks don't know about. Like, but like those Medicoms are an example of like, before doing this, I had no idea what those were.
Yeah.
And now it's like the story of Medicom Sofubi is like, I don't want to be like a historian, but it's pretty freaking interesting. Like the first figures were some of the first wrestling figures were 1969 Bull Mark. And they released this 6-figure line, which are in the same design as these Medicom Sofubis. And so they're like really just taking that theme from 1969 and like they've never really stopped, but they've stopped with wrestling and now they're bringing it back. And I think they started again in like late 2000s or like 2010s area. So it's just really cool to kind of see that develop.
Yeah. Yeah. The site, guys, is wrestlingfiguredatabase.com. Definitely check it out. You will get sucked in, especially just type in a wrestler and then just, or like you said, go to the buy wrestler section or buy promotion and you will get sucked in. We always like to do a fun question or end on a fun question. So we've got that for you. What are you streaming right now? What is just, you can't stop watching?
Oh gosh, I'm going to sound so boring.
That's all right.
I'm not streaming anything personally. I am watching with my wife Survivor.
Okay.
The new season.
Okay. That show has been on forever. I've never watched a single episode, I don't think.
It's I don't have the same passion for it that she does.
Sure.
I'm kind of along for the ride.
There you go.
But sometimes I'll do site stuff while she's watching. But I've been playing a lot of Nintendo Switch. So don't really stream all that much.
What are you playing on the Switch?
Zelda. The first
the new one or
the first one.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
In preparation.
Yeah.
I just got it, and so I'm kind of just like checking it out.
Gotcha. My son has a Switch, and he's like bored with it at this point. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're bored with it? Like, well, we also have a PS5, so he's got the show, MLB The Show for both, and he's like, the graphics suck on the Switch one. I don't want to play it. And I'm like,
kid, I used to have a Game Boy,
right?
And then they had a Game Boy
you needed
Color.
a light to flash on the screen and make it look good.
I'm like, the graphics suck because you can play it on the TV and then take it with you.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but then there's no Wi-Fi and I can't play Fortnite. I'm like, I
had Tiger Electronics handhelds.
Yeah, right. When they re-released those a couple years ago, I bought him the X-Men one for Christmas, and I think I played it way more than he did. I put it in a stocking, and I was like, "This is awesome stocking stuffer." But all right, so yeah, the website is wrestlingfiguredatabase.com, guys. Jump on there. What you want to shout out your Twitter? You don't have an Instagram, right, for the site, or do you?
I do. I don't really use it all that much. I don't like having to format the pictures. I'm just bad at it. But it's Wrestling Figure DB on Instagram, and then on Twitter it is Wrestling Fig DB, and that's where I do most of my stuff.
Got it. Definitely check it out, guys. Dylan, thank you so much for jumping on here with us. I'm glad we finally got to be able to do this. And
thank you for not dipping me.
Yeah, this week. But thank you guys so much for listening. And again, it's WrestlingFigureDatabase.com. Check it out, guys. There you go, guys. Great interview with our new friend Dylan from Wrestling Figure Database. Great little website. Check it out. Me and DJ will be back with another episode very shortly. We'll be talking this week all about our big weekend of wrestling here, Memorial Day weekend, where it is, we got the AEW pay-per-view, Night of Champions for WWE. So make sure you check that out in the main feed or on Patreon once it drops. My name is Tommy Paradise. Thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Very soon.